This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. What I'm looking at today is 2022's Hillwalkers, directed by Tom Cosgrove. And the opening of this movie has a really striking image, which reminds me of the 1973 movie Psychomania, or as it is also known as Death Wheelers. And Hillwalkers is a terrible title. It sounds like something Richard Attenborough would have produced. And that's a pity, because this is a really good, taut movie. Now the thing is, it's very evocative of movies from the 70s and 80s. It's very suspenseful. It's definitely a horror film, but it's relatively light on gore. It's more about shock and suspense than gore. And it revolves around 5 people who are hiking in the Scottish moors, I believe. While they're doing so, they stumble into private land, which they don't have the right to be in. But in any case, they continue hiking, and the owners of the land don't take too kindly to that fact. It doesn't help that the said owners are also psychopaths. And this is where Hillwalkers really shines, because the motivations of the killers are simply because they can. It's no more complex than that. And everyone is so well played in this movie. It just works. As I said, the antagonists of the movie are nuts. And they find these people and they begin to kill them. That's it. That's the entire idea behind Hillwalkers. But, as I said, it's so well acted, particularly by Aoife Hanrahan, who plays Miriam, and Elise Brennan, who work really well in defending themselves. And what I love so much about this movie is that it strikes an almost perfect balance, in the sense that I tend to not enjoy, for very long at any rate, movies where the antagonists are really powerful and invincible. I admit there's a thrill in watching those movies at points, but it doesn't last because it gets boring really fast. While with Hillwalkers, the protagonists, particularly those 2 women I mentioned, are really competent. That's the best way to describe them. They don't turn into Rambo or anything of that nature. They're just really competent people. And it makes the movie so much more enjoyable because you don't quite know how it's going to go. But they keep their heads about themselves and do what they can in a given situation. It works really well. This is part of the reason I really enjoy Tubi. There is tons of movies on there, particularly horror, that are not very good. But there are some gems. If you look hard enough, you will find some excellent movies. And I assume this applies to science fiction, dramas, thrillers as well, though I don't tend to spend as much time with them as I do with horror. And Hillwalkers, speaking of which, is a winner. It's not particularly violent in a sense of gore. There's blood, but it's not overdone. If you recall my last review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, currently airing on Netflix, I enjoyed that movie a lot, but the story was its greatest weakness. It was silly, and its antagonist was way too powerful in ways that a normal human could not possibly be. Hillwalkers takes that and turns it on its head, which is to say you have regular people in a terrible situation, but, and this is the important difference, It's that the regular people are competent. They're not spectacular in anything that they do in terms of defending themselves from these killers. But they're really smart people for the most part. And that's what makes this movie so enjoyable. If you haven't seen Hillwalkers, it's currently on Tubi. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or follow. Peace.